Deputy Seamus Healy.
Good morning, Ceann Comhairle, and I'll be brief. Firstly, I want to say that the ordering of this debate by the government is in fact bizarre, and it brings Oireachtas into disrepute. I believe it's an insult to members and to the public generally, and I believe that any reasonable person would have adjourned this debate and recommenced tomorrow. That said, I've supported this legislation at second stage and also at committee stage, and I will be supporting it later on this morning when a vote is called. However, this is limited and very restrictive legislation, and I believe it should and it could, within the terms of the Constitution, provide for terminations, for instance, in the case of inevitable miscarriage and of fetal abnormalities. And I will address those two issues later in the debate when I move amendments in my name on those issues. I want to refer to the impression being given out there by opponents of this particular section in the legislation that what has been done here is the introduction of abortion on demand, and that women who are suicidal will be able to get a certificate under Section 9 and a termination with ease. Nothing, of course, could be further from the truth, and I believe that those suggestions are at best disingenuous and at worst dishonest. And I believe it's important to remind ourselves that the conditions attached to this section and indeed the legislation generally are very onerous and very restrictive indeed, and they obviously require a real and substantial risk to the life of the mother as distinct from the health of the mother, and that substantial risk to the life of the mother can only be averted by a termination. And it also provides that 3 medical practitioners must jointly certify under this section. So these are very onerous and very restrictive conditions, and of course the almost certainty and definitely the likelihood is that anybody who wishes anyone who wishes to access a termination on these grounds are much more likely to continue to do so in other jurisdictions in Britain primarily, rather than go through these very onerous and very restrictive conditions that are provided for in this legislation. One other element I just want to refer to briefly, Ceann Comhairle, and that is again the suggestion that is out there from opponents of this particular section of the bill and the bill in general, that the majority, and this is continually said, that the majority of the Irish people are opposed to this condition, which is now known, I suppose, as the suicide condition. Again, nothing could be further from the truth, and again, I believe that this is at best disingenuous and at worst dishonest. There is, as we know, incontrovertible evidence that the majority of the Irish people support the ex-case judgment in the case of suicide, and that evidence is there for all of us to see, the result of 2 referendums in 1992 and in 2002, which clearly supported the inclusion of suicide under this general heading. So very briefly, Ceann Comhairle, as I say, I support this particular piece of legislation, limited though it is, but I have supported it in the past and will support it tonight, or rather this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy